Yeah, there's a couple important points that I think I have to relay to the audience. Is one of the things is that, Woody was very sensitive to chemicals, to drugs, to even alcohol, right? And these drugs affect everybody differently. So you see these anecdotes where people will say, I took it and nothing happened to me. Or someone might say, well, it helped me. It did take the edge off because there was some form of emotional blunting. And we're not denying that drugs have drug effects and drug effects will impact people differently. But the concept of take the edge off, I think, is so misleading and it's so harmful because it sends the message. There's two messages, really. There is something that can take the edge off without any consequence. And two, somehow this edge represents a place where we can't be. That it's a dangerous place for us to be, and we have to walk back from the edge. And what does that mean, the edge? Like we're about to lose our sanity, what we cannot handle, the stress of that particular moment. It's dangerous to you. I know that you have witnessed what I have witnessed is that message is part of a greater marketing campaign to get people to fear their own internal experience, one that is absolutely necessary for us. So Woody was going through something when he started his next job, an opportunity for him too to kind of grow through that challenge. What do you think he was going through? Let's imagine a scenario where he never went and saw that doctor. What would have eventually just been the outcome for him, in your opinion, knowing him as well as you have?
Oh, he would have worked through it because I think, where he was getting some of that, it was a new startup company, right? So he was used to having a paycheck every day. He was used to knowing what he was going to be doing every single day. It was walking in the unknown. It was walking through uncertainty. It was walking into something new. And that is not like, that's where the growth is. Woody would have passed. I mean, no different than when we got married or when Woody took his first job or, that is, he was like looking for ways, like he was thinking, how am I going to get through this? And I think, and I wish that he would never have been told that this pill would take the edge off, because I think there were so many other things that could have been done first. He didn't even have an opportunity to feel it because it took the edge off. All right. I mean, he had head outside his body telling me he was looking in. He was bawling. He didn't know what was happening to him. He was pacing. He thought his life was falling apart. And I remember when he was telling me, his head was, when I got back from, being gone for 3 weeks, he was by himself going through this. So it took the edge off, but he's now thinking it's him, right? Like whatever, this head outside the body. And I remember like telling him, I'm like, gosh, if your job is so stressful, because that's what I thought maybe it was, you should just quit. We'll be fine. Like we lived our life with one paycheck so that we would always have the option for when we had kids that I could stay home. So we never lived over our means. He could have quit. There's so many things. He didn't even have the opportunity to do any of those because here he thinks that he's losing his mind. And that was chemical. And I'm going to respond to your thing about where people like, oh, well, it worked for me. Well, great. All drugs have an effect, right? Like alcohol is an effect. NyQuil has an effect on people. And they'll say, oh, well, that was such a low dose. I hear that all the time. It doesn't matter if it's a low dose. If your body can't process something, it doesn't matter if it's the first pill or it's like you've been on it. Like your body isn't being able to process something. So anyways, I think Woody would have thrived. He would have more than succeeded. His running would have started. I would have been in town maybe. I was out of town during this whole time. So there's just so many things I look back and go, wow, take the edge off. It sure did. He doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah, I think we can all empathize with being in that position at some point in our life. Who has not gone through sleepless nights? Who has not felt the stress of the uncertainty of something new? And for anyone who started a new position or started a company or felt the responsibility to take care of your family, who didn't go through that difficult process of trying to figure it out and knowing the pressure might be on you at that time, but who's to say we can't handle that? Who's to say a teenager can't handle the rejection of their peers, a difficult time in their lives? We continuously send this message that weakens all of us and doesn't even provide us the opportunity. And then in the worst case scenarios, what we're doing is we're told it's even worse than this is just to take the edge off. We're saying there's something different about you. You can't handle things like other people. Maybe you have a genetic vulnerability or a chemical imbalance of the brain and you need this medicine because you are mentally ill. And so the power of that story has conditioned generations. And that's where we see some of the backlash to like a Bobby Kennedy movement or Kim Witczak advocacy, is that they're saying, well, I'm broken and I need this medicine. And I think when we talk about love, we can have compassion for that person, but know that they are under the veil of such conditioning that they can't see their own divinity past it. And so I think this is the opportunity to get more into your own personal story, because we all know the story of Woody and what happened. And you've done such an amazing job of advocating on behalf of him and millions out there like him who's gone through what he went through. But I don't know if we necessarily know, what you went through, the months and the years following that, the dark places that you were in your life, and how you did get through it, because clearly you were up against the edge in life, losing your husband in such a tragedy. Would you be willing to kind of just share your experience in grief and the aftermath of this tragedy?